2 years ago, my boyfriend Max passed away. I can't seem to pull myself back together. Ever since the accident, certain songs literally pull me back into the past.
It's such a huge pleasure to be here with you. Congratulations on the greatest hits, and also congratulations for its release during South by Southwest, which is one of the coolest film festivals we have in the USA, right?
It is, it truly is.
And it matches perfectly the atmosphere of the greatest hits. This festival is all about pop music. It's about culture. It's about indie music as well. And your movie has a lot of that atmosphere in it. Tell me about your inspiration for this project. What was your biggest inspiration in terms of writing and also directing?
Yeah, I'm just a music lover at heart. I think I'm very affected emotionally by different albums and different songs, so I thought a lot about that. And then I had read this book called Musicophilia by Oliver Sacks, which is about how music and the brain interact, such things as musical hallucinations, which kind of inspired this idea that what if this character was suffering from musical hallucinations, and what if actually it wasn't just a hallucination, she was being thrown back in time to these memories. So that was basically the genesis of the idea.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a particular song that takes you back to a specific momentum in your life?
So many. But we could talk for days, and I could go through an entire catalog. But to be specific, yeah, I mean, the Avalon by Roxy Music is a huge one for me. That takes me back to my childhood.
And we see Roxy Music in the soundtrack here in the greatest hits. So it's kind of like a personal twist in the movie, right?
For sure. There's a lot of music that is personal to me, that's on the soundtrack, for sure, including that Roxy Music track, among others.
And when you were building the soundtrack for this movie, do you have a particular genre you were looking for? Like something you were trying to build, like I'm trying to follow this sort of genre to build the whole soundtrack, or were you more eclectic in your choices?
I think we tried to be eclectic. We wanted it to feel random to some degree in terms of, what Harriet was experiencing out in the real world versus her own space where she could control the music that she listened to. But also we thought about it by character, the music that Harriet likes, the music that Morris likes, the music that David likes, the music that Max likes, and sort of blending those things throughout the movie so the characters each had their own soundtrack. And then obviously the story itself would feel more eclectic.
Nice. And it's been roughly 10 years since your last picture. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long to come back? And thank God you did.
I think for multiple reasons. I started writing for other people. I was directing commercials, and there were two films that I tried to get together, and they just didn't come together in the way that I wanted to. So after having tried writing this in 2009, 2010, I took it off the shelf in like 2021 and rewrote it. And once I showed it to some people, they were like, we should make this. And it wound up being the next film I made. So that's kind of the long way around to getting to make your second movie.
I get it. It's so good to have you back with us. And
Thank you.
in terms of reflection about the greatest hits, for you, what is the biggest reflection you would like the audience to have after watching this movie?
I just think the power of music. I think how music reminds us to live our lives and to get out and dance, and to, how strong a tool or a medium that it can be in terms of helping us move on, but also like tethering us to our past at the same time.
And this movie also tackles grieving, which is something extremely private, and we tend to avoid talking about it. But you managed to do that in a very sweet and sensible way, and sensitive way as well, which I think is really nice, because we have these two characters that are trying to move on from huge losses. So please tell me, how did you manage to create this balance between the grieving process and also getting your life back together and realizing that music can also help you with that?
Oh, I think it's obviously so specific to any person that goes through something like that. I mean, we all will confront it in our lives, and I think in this case it was two characters who were both dealing with loss, who ran into each other and were able to be open and vulnerable about it. And I think, you know, it part of that process in terms of being able to talk about it is healing. And I think once they were able to meet each other, I think they helped each other realize is that they needed to let go of stuff in order to move on with the rest of their lives. So that's how.
It feels like I'm cheating.
You coming?